I thought I'd come out to the front yard today and show you a different view. I realized I haven't done that before. One of our oak trees at a higher level here. And this place out here, this was all filled with cement. There was no dirt, there was no dry creek bed, there was no start of a fence. All of this was filled with cement, and there was one grevillea bush that was really tired, and so we took that out. None of the plants were here, nothing. And that was just 5 years ago. And it's not a real big spot. This is just the area where you come up the driveway to the house. But it was another blank slate. It was another blank page that we had to figure out what to do with, or that I had to figure out what to do with, because I'm the one that does all the plant figuring out stuff. And, I don't always get it right. Sometimes I have an idea and it doesn't work, just like with art. And sometimes, other things happen to make me have to change my mind. I made this bed here of leftover rocks that we had from the dry creek bed that I created, with the idea that I was going to put the herb garden in there. And then we had bunnies that decided that they were going to be all over the place, in the front yard, the backyard, the side yard, wherever there was a plant. The bunnies were eating everything. So I just sort of had to put that project aside until I can, fence the bunnies out of at least this area. But what I was thinking about out here, and we have lots of manzanitas, which I just love. And the good thing about the manzanitas is that they bloom in the wintertime, so they can feed our birds when there's not a whole lot of other things in bloom. But I was thinking about this particular manzanita today, and I'm really in the shadows. See if I can get any better at it here. And this is a Dr. Hurd manzanita, and it's just a real popular manzanita in our area. And it was in a little 4-inch pot about 3 years ago. So little pot, 4-inch nursery pot, and it is now about 3 feet tall and maybe about 3.5 feet wide. In 3 years, maybe 3.5 years. And that's just kind of amazing, isn't it? When you put the right plant in the right spot in your garden, and then it does what it's supposed to do and grow. Now, some people wouldn't be happy with that kind of growth. They would think they want this, huge, like put it in and you get a 6-foot tall sunflower, in 3 months at the end of summer. But I'm okay with slow growth. I'm okay with slow growth with my plants, and I'm okay with slow growth in the garden. But I do in my art. And remember, these are totally unscripted rambles of me, so you're getting it raw. I need to remember that it's okay to have slow growth. I need to remember that a lot of growth happens under the ground with all the roots digging down and all the worms and microherds doing their work. And then suddenly the green leaves pop up. Then suddenly the branches spread out and things start to grow. And it's the same sort of thing with my art. I didn't learn how to do a mixed media piece the first time I tried it. I didn't learn the second or third or fourth time I tried it. I made a lot of goof ups with it. And see, Zoe agrees with me. I didn't learn how to make a journal the first time, but I learned some parts of the journal. And some things you keep doing over and over again, and you're not so sure if it's going to work out, or there's a block like the rabbits, and you have to kind of set that project aside for a while. But there's a lot of growth that happens just in the doing, whether it's the doing of the art, or maybe you're making art videos and you want to share them. This is another Dr. Hurd manzanita, and it went in the ground as a 5-gallon can, and so it is, well, I'm 5 feet tall. It's 5 feet tall and at least 8 feet wide now. And that's kind of like a starting point. This one went in as a 5-gallon pot. The other one in as a 4-inch pot, but they're growing, and the other one's going to catch up with it. And art-wise, it's the compare thing. Don't compare your growth as an artist to the growth of another artist. And I need to remind myself that all the time, because everybody comes to the table already knowing different things. I knew a lot about words. I didn't know a lot about glue until I started playing with it, which is why I have a gazillion types of glue. I knew a lot about paper, but I didn't know a lot about fabric. And that's okay. We learn at our own pace. But I think the important thing for me to remember, and maybe for you to remember, is there's a lot of growing that happens that we can't see. We need to give ourselves that space to grow and encouragement to grow, but most of all, we need to trust that that growing is going on. I sat down to do a project yesterday, and it's something I hadn't done for a while. I hadn't created something from nothing for quite a while. And I felt a little nervous, and then I felt the confidence that came because I'd done that before. I'd done something kind of similar, not exactly, but kind of similar, and the growth had been happening. And I sat down and went to work, and I'm really excited the way it's all coming together. So we need to trust ourselves that stuff is happening even when we can't see it going on. And we need to follow our guts a lot of the time and just keep on working at whatever it is that we're trying to get better at, because that growth is happening. Even if we can't measure it by a yardstick that is familiar to us, even if we're not really sure that the growing is happening, it is. You are growing. You only stop growing when you stop doing. So keep doing stuff. Keep making stuff. And I'll see you next time.